Good evening and welcome to tonight's recognition program. I'm Dennis Peterson, Superintendent of Minnetonka Schools. We begin each regular school board meeting recognizing the outstanding accomplishments of students, staff, and community members for their positive impact on our district. Tonight, we are recognizing amazing achievements in academics and extracurricular activities. There are 4 levels of advanced placement honors. Tonight, we will celebrate our advanced placement scholars from the classes of 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. To earn this designation, students earned a score of 3 or higher out of 5 on 3 or more exams. Our high school offers 28 AP courses for which students can earn college credit and weighted grades for academic honors. Nearly 81% of the class of 2020 took at least one AP or International Baccalaureate course as part of their 4-year plan. Additionally, in 2020, 1,658 Minnetonka students took 2,875 AP exams. The number of exams and courses taken is only one example of how Minnetonka students challenge themselves and prepare to meet challenging pursuits after graduation. Our students are well prepared to take AP exams, and their scores are exceptionally strong. On 84.7% of the tests taken in 2020, students scored 3 or higher, which is considered the threshold to earn college credit. That percentage is one of the highest in the country. We will now hear from some of our AP scholars who wanted to share how an AP course or class project impacted their educational journey and shaped their future plans.
Hi, my name is Rudy Paddock, and my favorite AP class that I took was probably AP Psychology because I thought learning about the human brain was very interesting, and I find it applicable to my day-to-day life, learning about how humans interact with each other and even in their own minds. And I also really enjoyed my teachers. I thought they were really caring and helpful. They really helped me learn the content even when we transferred online.
My name is Ella Christensen and I am a senior. Over the first 3 years, I've taken AP History every year. From AP US History to AP European History, these classes have been both challenging and time-consuming. I went on vacation to several countries in Europe before taking AP Euro. While looking at the works of art and architecture in each of the different countries, I had very little to no knowledge about what exactly I was looking at. Looking back after taking the trip and completing AP Euro, I have a greater understanding and appreciation for the works of art and architecture I saw that summer.
Hi, my name is Katrina Tadros and I'm a junior. The 2 AP classes that have had the biggest impact on my education were AP US History and this semester AP US Government. Not only were the content for both of these classes super engaging, but they also helped reveal my love for political analysis and help me develop rhetorical skills that will definitely help me later on in the future.
Hi, my name is Madison Andrews and I'm a junior. Last year I took AP Chemistry and I can honestly say that I love the class. I've been fascinated by biology for a long time and was just planning on becoming a doctor or going into biotechnology. Then I took this class and decided that my new field of study would be biochemistry. If I had just taken the class, maybe it wouldn't have had such a big impact, but I had the chance to apply my knowledge of the basics that I was learning to a research project, and it really opened my eyes to everything that could be done within the field.
My name is Mei-Ling Malther and I'm a sophomore. I really like taking AP classes because not only do they benefit me academically, they also help me grow as a person. For example, taking AP Chinese allowed me to connect with my culture. AP Physics, Chemistry, and Calculus have all fostered my love for STEM, and taking AP Language and Composition this semester have led me to discover that I really like to write. I never realized that before. APUSH and AP Human Geo inspire me to keep an open mind, stay educated, and do my part to make society a more inclusive place. AP courses make learning exciting and allow me to explore what I'm passionate about. There's always something personal I can take away from an AP class, and I know the things I learn in these courses will stick with me for a very long time.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Pace and I'm a junior. The class that influenced me the most would probably be my AP Physics class, and kind of what got me interested into the physics stuff, which is what I'm at least looking at studying.
I'm Will Gailey and I'm a junior. One class that really changed my outlook on the future was my freshman AP Physics class. In that class, I really found my love for math and science, and really that class encouraged me to take a lot more AP classes my sophomore and junior years. My teacher was Mrs. Haney, and she had a really big impact on me, and I'm really appreciative of all the help she gave me.
Hello, my name is Sean Studensky, and I am a senior. A class that has positively affected me is AP Calc. AP Calc has showed me that there is more to math than just numbers and answers. It has shown me how math is used in everyday life. And I believe the skills that I have learned in AP Calc, I will use in college and for the rest of my life.
Our AP scholars will each receive a medal of acknowledgement for their accomplishment that may be worn at graduation. For the class of 2020, we recognize the following students as AP scholars: Alexandra Arabanos, Walter Berry, Eric Benson, Finn Brady, Samantha Burmeister, James Diebel, Jack Eichhorn, Ijoma Ekpelibe, Maddie Fiddler, Benjamin Fraser, Owen Freebersicer, Leah Fritz, Ashley Gifford, Annika Hellerud, Lily Hauser, Hannah Inoue Gose, Amelia Johnson, Taya Johnson, Samuel Carrick, Annika Kirkwald, Annalise LaCourse, Samuel Lant, Kendra Lawrence, Sarah Lair, Anna Lucas, Kayla Mahubodi, William Manning, Lacey Martin, Kate McHugh, Tyler McGreevy, Nora Meeker, Joshua Moe, Emma Monteo Flandis, Jake Uppegard, Ava Osman, Allison Peck, Lara Rahman, Ansley Randall, Carlos Rivera, John Rivers, Samuel Rowell, Jack Rosenberg, Max Sedley, Jack Slater, Jacob Spramick, Cameron Steele, Benjamin Steiger, Alexander Stolz, Garrett Sensialan, Michaela Tabor, Hymanout Tadasi, Sandler Tollefson, Claire Tamari Leak, Garrett Trapnell, Chase Trin, Carly Weber, and Noah Weesey. Congratulations to all of you on this great achievement. From the class of 2021, we recognize the following students as AP scholars: Ezra Anderson, William Anderson, Annie Lou Bars, Libby Bailey, Chase Bankin, Seamus Berry, Nicholas Beck, Brian Burchild, Marley Bertanoli, Evan Bishop, Seth Bredell, Emmy Brooks, Shannon Chambers, Ella Christensen, Catherine Clark, Samuel Coate, Naomi Daigle, Shepard Denton, Sidney Dickinson, Abby Engdahl, Isabel Earhart, Dylan Erickson, Eric Frederickson, Adam Getzkin, Emma Gray, Alexander Hawks, Ryan Herbert, Alexander Holloman, Lily Janusek, Sophia Yo, Joseph Justinak, Peter Keese, Matthew Kelly, Truman Klein, Tyler Kippers, Zachary Loomis, John Manning, Emily Marceau, Clement Matho, Lenora McFall, Ian Meyer, Cole Mizrathani, Olivia Muehlberg, Emily Nicoletta, Shannon O'Meara, Rudy Paddock, Luke Pfeiffer, James Plombon, Tessa Ramisten, Madison Rausch, Frederick Ryle, Riley Sandholm, Elise Schmidt, Gabrielle Smirlo, Annabelle Smiley, Anna Smith, Callista Smith, Scott Strafe, Isaac Struble, Sean Studinsky, Jack Sullivan, Emma Tevote, Nolan Trin, Melise Veslidahl, Haley Wegshed, Nicholas Westberg, Lucas Weinberg, Tristan Wishmeyer, Greta Yang, Benjamin Yetta, and Zoe Zern. Congratulations to each of you on this great achievement. From the class of 2022, we recognize the following students as AP Scholars: Samira Ahmed, Madison Andrews, Grace Campbell, Reese Carlson, Riley Carlson, Aiden Chalmers, Benjamin Chung, Brittany Dong, Jameson Deneen, Jordan Ellert, Annika Evanstrom, Ella Fries, Kayla Fung, Stanley Gagner, Angelica Ginsberg, William Gailey, Viviana Gonzalez, Kaylin Hansen, Phoebe Hansen, Brian Heaton, Natalie Heer, Braden Honey, Carrera Jackson, Emily Joseph, Maya Kangas, Emma Conzini, Ada Lingeling, Maxwell Mavis, Zoe Meyer, Rebecca Pace, Isabel Pillai, Diego Pitt, Naren Pogoziski, Saria Polavarthi, Emily Reamer, Celia Salida, Sophia Sanya, Martin Shears, Lauren Streff, Katrina Tadros, Vivian Van Holland, Erwin Van Santen, Serena Webster, Carson Whitty, Henry Wardell, and Irang Yao. Congratulations to each of you on this great achievement. Finally, from the class of 2023, we recognize the following students as AP Scholars: Tyson Allen, William Anderson, Aiden Bartz, Nicholas Breitling, Ethan Chen, Eileen Jude, Mei-Ling Mather, Merlin Morton, Peyton Olson, Antonis Pappas, Benjamin Trin, and Elliot Yeshia. Congratulations to each of you on this great achievement. Minnetonka High School has a vibrant DECA program, and each year our students take home top honors at both the state and international conferences. The purpose of DECA is to prepare emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. In addition to competitions, the MHS DECA team participates in community service activities, leadership conferences, and social events. This year, 77 DECA participants earned the opportunity to compete at the State Career Development Conference, March 7th through the 9th. Of those, 50 students qualified in not only one, but two separate events. At the state conference, students will compete individually or in small teams in role-playing events related to their areas of interest. Each student will also complete a 100-question content-specific exam. Scores from the role play, presentation, and test determine who advances to the international conference. We look forward to announcing Minnetonka's international competitors on the district website this spring. We'll now hear from some of our DECA state qualifiers and their advisors, who will share with us about their season.
We couldn't be more proud of our DECA crew this year. Although the competitive environment shifted from in-person to a virtual experience this fall, our students didn't miss a beat, rising to the challenge presented. While navigating online educational experiences, many members still engaged in competitive events that required the development of 20 and 10-page research papers, business plans, and marketing campaigns. The team's commitment to excellence was even more apparent in the face of adversity. Witnessing their growth has truly been inspirational this fall.
We had 82 members compete, and out of those, 77 members advanced to state. We had some really strong performances from our upperclassmen, but also our underclassmen as well, and we are excited to watch their potential over the next 4 years.
And not only did those 77 members qualify, but we had over 50 members double qualify. This was a tremendous feat as you not only prepared for your role plays, but also prepared 10 to 20 page papers on your own time.
We are truly fortunate to get to work with such amazing young professionals. Their growth and success during these challenging times is truly amazing. We can't wait to see what they do at state, nationals, and in their future endeavors. Thanks to all our members for representing us well and making Minnetonka DECA the best it can be.
Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Peter Chacho and I'm a sophomore. This year's DECA experience has been one of fun times, hard times, and good times. Let's start off with the fun times. During the first few weeks of DECA, I was able to choose and create an idea of what event I wanted to participate, as well as choose the partner I wanted. This year, our district events was virtual. My partner and I came across many technical difficulties while recording our presentation. Eventually, we were able to overcome and solve our technical difficulties and submit our video in the nick of time. I'm excited that my team and I made it to state, and I'm hopeful we will go further.
My name's Abby Hoekstra and I'm a junior. Over the past 2 years in DECA, I've had so much fun working with my team and learning great life skills that can help me in future careers. DECA has taught me so much about public speaking as well as creating presentations and papers. Even though it's been mostly over Zoom, Google Meet, and FaceTime this past year, my team has still had a lot of fun writing our paper and creating our presentation.
Hello, my name is Annika Ulbrich, and I'm a freshman. I came into DECA just wanting to join a club and learn something new. Through DECA, I've expanded my knowledge in this subject, and my confidence has grown. I'm very proud of myself and my teammates who are also freshmen. We didn't really know what we were doing at times, but we worked through it and created something great in the end. So far, I have loved DECA and have grown so much from it.
Hi, I'm Hannah Fedor. I'm a sophomore and I did DECA. I'm really proud of my friend and I's presentation because we put a lot of time and effort into it. I was really happy when we had finally gotten the recording of it done. And it was just a big moment for us since we put so much time and effort into it, especially over winter break. But I really look forward to going to state, and I'm glad that all our effort paid off.
Hi, my name's Isabel Herrick and I'm a freshman at MHS. This is my first year participating in DECA and I did the Principles of Finance roleplay. Districts was such a fun experience for me. Although it was not in person, it was a great learning tool. It was so fun to see and experience DECA for the first time. I am most proud of myself for putting myself out there, gaining more business knowledge, and improving my communication skills. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kate Mindak, and I'm a junior, and I've been involved in DECA for 3 years. I originally joined DECA because I saw all the fun travel pictures on the wall, but since then DECA has become a fundamental piece of my education. It has helped me find my interest in school, which led me to take Vantage this year, which I have loved. And it has helped me decide I want to have a career in the business world in the future.
Hi, my name is Mara Boyko and I'm a junior in my second year of DECA. Even with e-learning this year, I have still had such an amazing experience in DECA with Google Meets, FaceTimes with my group, and in-person meetings. Not only have I had several positive memories from DECA so far this year already, but it has also shaped my future career path because it has given me a place to apply my interest for business and has given me real-life experience in the business world.
My name is Peyton Crest and I'm a senior this year in DECA, and by far my most notable experience from our district's competition was when we had students reaching out to one another, whether it be through GroupMe or FaceTime calls during our awards ceremony. We have worked so hard to maintain a community this year, especially because we are facing unprecedented circumstances, and it was incredible to see students continue to waver that support for one another.
Hi, I'm Ava Chen and I'm a junior. When I reflect on the DECA season so far, what I'm most proud of isn't the awards or the fancy titles we've won during districts. What I'm the most proud of is the community we've managed to build virtually, because at the end of the day, DECA isn't about winning, it's about our shared relationships and our shared experiences as a team.
Hi, my name is Griffin Fanning. I'm a sophomore and first year DECA member. I think the most impactful moment this DECA season was probably the competitive excellence event, as I felt it really prepared everyone for an unprecedented year of competition. Additionally, I think I was most proud of the DECA community for their perseverance and confidence going into competition, especially the district's event.
The following students have qualified to represent Minnetonka at the DECA State Conference: Christina Anderson, Atmos Andoshik, Grace Arndt, Marley Barrett, Ram Burschild, Lauren Bott, Lucy Birscher, Mara Boyko, Maggie Brandt, Maria Camelli, Ali Chan, Ava Chen, Peter Chacho, Cade Kanzemius, Ashton Crest, Peyton Crest, Sonia Dolan, Eileen Dosev, Yosef El Dashauri, Julia Eniga, Haley Inns, Isabel Earhart, Griffin Fanning, Hannah Fedor, Ella Freemgord, Molly Fries, Viviana Gonzalez, Drew Hansen, Isabel Herrig, Hadley Herwig, Abby Hoekstra, Paxton Holmes, Clara Wong, Sana Ik Ramodin, Sophia Johnson, Georgia Jorgensen, Emily Joseph, Myra Kurana, Jenna Klein, Carson Kost, Jenna Kruger, Mia Larson, Cheyun Lee, Walker Liu, Danielle Lawrence, Allison Matson, Catherine Mindak, Hannah Mussman, Elizabeth Nordwald, Julius Nurse, Carter Nye, Camden O'Brien, Charles Pears, Maheen Ramatullah, Emma Rieger, Jonathan Rice, Samantha Smith, Nora Shepard, Sanjana Siva Kumar Kurup, Sawyer Smith, Saloni Somia, Allison Stroby, Annika Tamti, Nolan Trin, Annika Ulbrich, William Walker, April Wong, Elizabeth Wong, Stephen Wong, Jocelyn Wartnick, Sophia Marie Williams, Brooks Witta, Courtney Youngquist, Omar Youssef, Annie Zhao, Greta Zivkovich. Students, we extend the district's congratulations and best wishes for success at state. We also extend great thanks to Minnetonka's tireless DECA advisors who continue to lead students in incredible levels of success. Stephanie Lolich, Andrew Warner, Carrie Benson, and Kate Batterman. Minnetonka High School has a strong, competitive debate team. Through debate, students learn the power of using rational, reasoned arguments and compelling evidence to make a point. They polish skills in researching, organizing information, writing, and, of course, public speaking. This year, the team sent 3 students to the state competition, which was held virtually on January 15th and 16th. Congratulations to our state competitors, including junior Molly Welsh, who was the Section 6 AA champion in the Lincoln Douglas format, senior Stephen Wong, who was the Section 6 AA runner-up in the Lincoln Douglas format, and junior Kruthika Dama, who qualified as an at-large competitor in the congressional debate format. At state, Stephen advanced to the quarterfinal round of the Lincoln Douglas bracket, ending his season in a debate against the eventual state tournament champion. We will now hear some reflections from the state qualifiers and their coaches about their season.
Hi, my name is Stephen Wong, and I'm a senior here at Minnetonka High School. I'm also the debate Section 6 runner-up and state quarterfinalist. This year, our debate team has faced so many setbacks with both virtual practices and competition, but I'm still so proud of our team, my debate coach, and also my fellow captains who have made this year still so exciting and so successful nonetheless, with 2 state qualifiers and 1 national qualifier as well. If it weren't for the perseverance that we had on the Minnetonka debate team, we would not have had such a strong season, and as a senior, I'm truly going to miss the debate team a lot next year.
Hi, my name is Molly Welch, and I'm a junior on the varsity debate team. What I'm the most proud of about my team and my performance this season was all the dedication and hard work that we showed despite the difficulties of an online season. There were definitely times when working and competing alone in my room was really frustrating or made me less optimistic, but especially these past couple weeks, getting on a call and working for hours every night with my team reminded me just how rewarding it is to put in a lot of effort and end up really proud of the result. And that's what's made me really grateful for this experience. Thank you.
Hello, Minnetonka. I'm Raymond Jung. I'm the head debate coach for the Minnetonka debate team, and I just wanted to give everyone a season update. This year, we had the pleasure of continue our competition virtually. So really props to all the debaters that continue to work. We were able to close out the JV Novice State Tournament, as well as win the National Qualifying Tournament, as well as win our Section 6AA tournament in Lincoln Douglas, and reached the quarterfinalists of the state tournament, and winning the entire Lincoln Douglas total points scored cup at the state tournament at the end of the year. So really great job to all the Minnetonka debaters for toughing it out this year, even though we are switching to a new virtual format. Thank you.
The board extends congratulations to each of you on your excellent work and outstanding achievements. Molly and Stephen were coached by Raymond Jong in the Lincoln Douglas format, and Krithika was coached by Bonnie LePage in the congressional format. Thank you for your time and commitment to our students, Raymond and Bonnie. That concludes our recognition program this evening. Thank you for joining us. The school board meeting will begin shortly.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the February 4th, 2021 school board meeting to order. Let's rise to say the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, board members. It's good to see. It's been a while since we've been all together again, so it's exciting. Can I get a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have an agenda. I forgot to make mention that we have a carry-on item for the consent agenda, so it includes that. Great. Our first agenda item is the school report for Scenic Heights. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I also greet all of you and welcome you tonight. Been sad to not have you here every time we've done these meetings, but hopefully we're on the run now where they'll all be able to be in person. It is always a great time to have Joe Walker come and talk about the wonderful things that are happening at Scenic Heights. Very complex school and a lot of wonderful things happening there all the time. I know some of you have had kids go there or already do have or do still have kids going there. But I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Walker.
Mr. Chair, board members, Dr. Peterson, it is my pleasure. I've got with me Mr. Jason Reeder, and he's going to help with a few slides as we're going to talk about today is we've just shifted into in-person this week, and we wanted to kind of lay out what goes into that and then talk about how the week's gone so much. So, you know, of course, the icing on the cake's the very last two slides where the kids comment of their feelings on coming back. So that's just to wait for that. So as we look at it, these are some of the things that we need to look at. And if you take those things into consideration, you'll say, wow, that's just like the beginning of the school year. And really that's what we've done pretty much 2-3 times this year. And so when we look at it, student choice, and I won't read them all, but we'll talk about some of those things, but staff availability is a big one. And so really, we look at it at the beginning of a regular school year of what students want which programs and which grades. And then we do that, we staff that accordingly, and then we do our room assignments, specialist schedule, and everything else. So this has really been doing that all over again, and I really like to say that, you know, it's really been a team effort. You know, even though Scenic Heights is here tonight, the other 5 elementaries, we're also working together and in person. Some of those things we've done more together than we've done in many years, just because of the dynamic of this year. So again, so far this year, students have choices. They're e-learning, they've had hybrid, there's been a childcare, and an in-person, and each one of those takes a little different room assignments, a little different choices for parents. And the thing, again, that I like is parents always had a choice. I mean, if parents needed to work, no matter where they were at in the continuum this year, they could send their students either to Scenic Heights or the high school if they were in hybrid and they were grades 4 or 5. And so I think that's been really important, and because of that, I felt a lot of support from parents, and it's just been tremendous, and that's been a real positive for me, a real up. We feel like we're really doing a service to our community and to our families because of that. So this is, you kind of see an actual document on the right. You know, we started as we're bringing 4 or 5 back, and, you know, we're putting rooms for K1, 2, 3. We color-coded them and started moving people back to rooms that they might have been at. Now, what you'll see in there is you'll see solid colors, and those are actual teachers from different grades, and you can see how I color-coded it. And then you'll see kind of striped ones. And those are rooms where if there's a little larger class size, the teacher has support, and they can move over to those areas to do breakout sessions safely, again, with the 3 feet between the students. And then you see some, you know, ones that aren't colored at all, and those are really for intervention. So a lot of those students can go to different intervention places, or again, you know, we have staff members that need to have lunch. You know, they need to work when students are eating lunch in their classrooms, and we provided those spaces. So again, we had to redo the special schedule, and Dr. Amy Ledoux was very instrumental in really helping us, because all 6 elementaries Some students got new specialist teachers that were from other schools that we had to utilize in the hybrid model when we were at 2 schools. And so now we essentially have our specialists back, but we had to recreate the schedule. We kept it at 6 weeks rather than a 6-day schedule. And it's worked out, as we look at it. And now this year, what's a little different now in person is our specialists are pushing into the classroom unless it's physical education. So now I'm going to turn over to Mr. Reeder, and he's going to talk a little bit about kind of playground and lunch and how that looks a little different.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. It's nice to see you all this evening. Thanks for having us. First and foremost, as you look at any of these schedules, particularly now our in-person lunch recess schedule, nothing would be possible without this group of talented, dedicated paraprofessionals. They truly are here to serve our community and our students, and we're very lucky to have them. The thing that the schedule that you see before you now has been a work in progress, and we've changed it numerous times because of the models that we've gone to. If you draw your attention to the first block, there are five teachers that are there. Those are our first grade block. And as you can see, they exit the building and enter the building at the same time. That's important to note because it's not always been that way. In a pre-COVID model, if you will, lunch and recess were run, we would waterfall. I mean, we would drip out slowly. So every 3 minutes they would go, we would release the new class out, and then they'd spend 20 minutes, and then they'd come in. And then 3 minutes later, the next group would come in. And lunch and recess, excessively important, right? You ask any kid what his favorite class is, it's probably recess or lunch. So we want to make sure we got this right. But what we found through this process is for us to transition to a face-to-face, in-person model, it was going to be important that we really had a significant amount of supervision during these times. So for each class, they're going to have a paraprofessional either from that classroom or a floater paraprofessional that's going to supervise their recess as well as their lunch. In addition to that supervision, all of our lunches are hand-delivered to each one of our classrooms. Our delivery team is phenomenal. If you want to see them in action, I suggest it's either a pizza day or a hot dog day, because that's going to be in full effect both of those days. They're also phenomenal, along with our nutritional staff. So in this in-person format, we're able to provide significant amount of supervision and effectively deliver food as well as the recess experience. When we talk about keeping those 5 groups out and being supervised, those align with our zones, and you can see those listed above. Right now, in person, we have 5 zones. That is an optimal level of supervision for us right now. When we were in hybrid, we doubled that number, and we had pods. So we would have 10 zones. The important thing about that was, though, we still had an effective supervision model, but this even clamps it down even a little bit more. So we can ensure safety on the playground, but we can also ensure social distancing, and those classes stay with their classmates. Bus schedules, one of my favorite things to talk about. Our arrival and departure or dismissal, again, fantastic job by our paraprofessional staff, the best of the best. For arrival, we used to have one entrance, one arrival spot, our main entrance. Now we have 3 in the north, the main, and the south side of the building. When our buses arrive, I greet them in the morning. It's a great way to start my day. Say hello, good morning. If they have a Packer hat on, I say, go Pack, because who doesn't love the Packers? Right? No? Okay. I'll move on. And then what we do is, if you're K through 2 grades, they'll go through the main entrance. And then our 3 through 5 grades, they go through the south entrance. We've social distanced, and it's an effective way to get into the building. We also have temperature takers positioned at each door. That's every morning. We also take temperatures midway through their lunch periods. Dismissal, one of our paraprofessionals created a Google Doc that helps us with dismissal. It's a live document. As the parents arrive, she loads that information into the doc. It's displayed in the classroom. Students walk out. Buses are dismissed as they arrive. Kay Robinson, our fantastic secretary at school, does that over the intercom. As they arrive, she announces it, dismisses them, and students are dismissed for buses through the same doors that they arrive through. That just keeps some consistency in that pattern, and our travel, the flow of travel in the building seems to be more effective that way.
Great, thank you, Mr. Reeder. I want to go back a couple slides. to the zones. Remember we said 10 zones, right? There's 5 there. You're thinking, well, how did we get 10? Well, if you know Scenic Heights, there's a big hill, and at the bottom of the hill, we had 5 more zones, or at least one in the back. But right now, if we had those zones, we'd have a kindergartner slide down, and I don't think they'd ever come up again. So it's really important that we made the shift while before winter and before we had our snow and our ice on our hill in order to have these zones take place. So this is, our teachers have worked tremendously hard. They've shifted rooms, even the ones that stayed at Scenic Heights, almost all of them had to shift rooms. And so what I wanted to do is go through the grades and just give you just a couple of shots of the formats that they came up for in person. So this is a kindergarten room with desks. We normally never have desks in kindergarten, but this really helps them with that 3 feet distancing, and really helps with, kind of keeping those students and having all their gear where they need to have it. Here's a first grade class, and you can see, Scenic Heights was built in 1967, and they had an educational model that was built around where many of the classes had a double class with sliding doors. Well, most of all these years, we haven't used the sliding doors, but now we're using the sliding doors. And in this class, we're not so much yet in first grade, but you'll see in the next class in second grade, now look, a little bigger class, we needed more room, so we put a double. And then we also give more parent support. Well, you look at that, the double doors are already back. This is a double room, and it works great. I mean, the flexibility of the room, if you could have, the architect could have seen this, I think they would have been, quite pleased that even during a pandemic, the building held up with its design and was able to be flexible. And then this is a 5th grade Chinese class. It's a smaller class. So they're at trapezoid tables, and then they have those screens in front of them between each one of them. And this is the 5th grade English. It's also a little big, so we put down the walls, have the trapezoid tables, the same thing, but we can have more students there in capacity. And again, we have paraprofessional help for that. So this allows really a lot of, a regular class size, but you're able to spread it out to give people more room, and it really, really helps the students. And yet the teacher still has access to the students. And again, when a specialist comes in, like music or art, they're going to enter this classroom and be able to teach all of those students also at the same time. So this is another model we have. And then a navigator room, and you can see it's even a little different setup. So really, what we've done is we've said to the teachers, we couldn't promise you, we tried to get the furniture they wanted, but he said, and we worked with them so much, most everybody got what they wanted, but we said, we're going to give you the number of spots that you need, work it out, do some training, but let's start that way, because we only had a couple of days to do the turnover. And then if you need some things, make requests and we'll help them. So far, we haven't had any other requests. We were able to get desks where we, barter here and there and trade, and everybody pretty much has what they want. So that's been great. And then teachers, as I said, when the specialists are going inside, the teachers have prep or where they go. This is our media center. Since the media teacher is pushing into the classroom, we're able to use this space for teachers to do their prep outside. And there's also other locations in the building, but this is a particularly nice one as they look over the back to the west, where it's just beautiful out there. And then this is our all-purpose room, and when that was designed, we didn't think we were going to use it, but we thought, well, just in case we ever need to reuse it and expand our lunchroom, let's have double doors there so we can run these tables through. Well, who would have guessed, teachers can go here now for lunch and have plenty of space in between. And again, a year ago, we wouldn't have thought that was going to be a need. So what did the students say upon returning? I'll let you read those, but I kind of like them. I really like the last one. It's different because they used to meet in my pajamas, but I put a shirt on now. So. And then the student that's kind of tired of their dad always being on the phone. And then the second one, they really are happy to be back, and I think the staff are really happy to be back and have kids. It seems more like a school than it was. It's filled again. There's lots of, energy there, and it's, it's clear the students are really happy to be there. And I remember the very beginning of this, there's a lot of talk about how are we going to get those elementary kids to wear their masks? It just hasn't been an issue. It just really hasn't. And so that's been really, I think it's been that partnership between families and parents helping prepare their kids and also the students. So this has been really a great start. I will say a couple things that are different. We've noticed that drop-off, we start at 8:20 and they go straight into the building, but drop-off will go 8:20 and it'll probably take about 25 minutes to get everybody in the building. If we look at dismissal, it used to take last year 20 minutes, and now it's taking about 30 minutes to get everybody picked up. Now, it's still the first week. We'll get a little better at it as we go. But that's kind of how it's changed a little bit with having that distancing, because as Mr. Reeder said, you know, people are called out for the first 10 minutes in the Google Doc, but then after that, we stage them over a larger area so teachers can still get their prep. So at 3:30, everybody comes out, the remainder come out, we're able to socially distance those, and then they're able to get in their car, but it takes about 30 minutes for that to clear. But other than that, you know, we're really happy to be back. It's been a great success so far, and we're excited to see what the next adventure is. And maybe we'll need to come back for another model change, who knows? All right, so thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Board, have any questions? Christine?
I don't have a question. I just have a few thank yous. As a I have a third grader at Scenic Heights, and I don't know if she was more excited to go back or if I was more excited to send her back. And I really appreciate the flexibility that you've had with the teachers. So the Chinese third grade teachers were kind of tag team teaching through hybrid, which worked fantastic. And they're doing that back in person, which I was so grateful for the consistency. So thank you for allowing that flexibility and letting the teachers kind of guide what works for them and what works for the kids.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Lisa?
I don't have a question either, but just a comment and just to extend again a thank you. Mr. Reeder did a great job of thanking all the paraprofessionals and the staff, but I know everybody's worked so hard, and everybody I talk to, they're just so ecstatic to be back at school. The kids are just delighted. You know, it's like they've never been that excited to go to school, I think, ever. So, you know, thanks to everybody who's really gone the extra 10 or 20, 15 million miles, whatever it is, to make this happen.
Yeah, and while we said that, we didn't talk about our office staff, who's just been tremendous at Scenic Heights and all the extra hours they put. They had to really make these new classes in Skyward over a week, and so they were doing that and then coming up with schedules with us too. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Mike?
Yeah, Joe, I appreciate your presentation because you answered so many of the questions, you know, particularly, you know, for me when you're going from kindergarten through 5th grade, how the classrooms are set up, because we discussed it, but seeing the pictures, you know, really helped a lot. One question I had is, so when the kids go outside for recess, do they need to wear their masks when they're outside playing around?
Yeah, we have them wear their masks.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mike. Katie?
Great presentation. I also enjoyed seeing the pictures, and I think it's wonderful to share with the community. So thank you for the details. Continued thanks to all the staff. But one question that I have, and I don't know if you would have the answer, Dr. Peterson, when you talk about the drop-off and pickup and how that is a longer period of time, is it because you have more people driving currently, or rather than taking the bus, or is it because of the staggered time?
I believe it's, I mean, I don't have it for sure, but I believe more people are driving because they're not taking the bus.
Yeah.
We don't have near the full buses that we've had before. We used to have 7, 8 buses, you know, lined up, and then they would pour out, you know, 50, 60, 70 students. And now it's only, you know, 20 or so. And so I think most of that is parents picking up and dropping off without the busing.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, but thank you, thanks.
you're welcome.
I also have a third grader who bounces to and from school this week, so thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And Mr. Reeder. Any more questions? Great, thank you guys, appreciate it. I would like to move to community comments a few minutes early because I know we have one comment that is an agenda item that is right after. So I think we'll do community comments early. If we end before 7:25 and somebody comes in, you know, we will go back to community comments, okay? So now we will move to community comments. Community comments is an opportunity for the public to address the school board on an item included in this agenda in accordance with the guidelines printed at the end of this agenda. I know we have one person that would like to make a comment to the board, so I will read the guidelines. So guidelines for community comments. Welcome to Minnetonka Schools Board Meeting. In interest of open communications, the Minnetonka School District wishes to provide an opportunity for the public to address the school board. That opportunity is provided at every school board meeting during community comments. Anyone indicating a desire to speak to an item included in this agenda during community comments will be acknowledged by the board chair. When called upon to speak, please state your name, address, and topic. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a whole, not to any specific members or to any person who is not a member of the board. If there are a number of individuals present to speak on the same topic, please designate a spokesperson that can summarize the issue. 3, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Longer time may be granted at the discretion of the board chair. If you have written comments, the board would like to have a copy, which will help them better understand, investigate, and respond to your concern. 4, during community comments, the board and administration listen to comments. Board members or the superintendent may ask questions of you in order to gain a thorough understanding of your concern, suggestion, or request. If there are any follow-up to your comment or suggestion, you will be contacted by a member of the board or administration. 5, please be aware that disrespectful comments or comments of personal nature directed at an individual, either by name or inference, will not be allowed. Personal concerns should be directed first to the principal, then to the executive director of human resources, then to the superintendent, and finally in writing to the board. Ms. Robertson Martin, you have already come up. Please state your name, address, and the topic that you'd like to address.
I came up too early. You said there was only one comment, and I knew who that was. All right, I'm Beth Robertson Martin, and I am at 26550 Noble Road in Shorewood. And I am here tonight on behalf of myself, 5 other awesome moms who helped write these comments, and over 100 community members who believe that we all need to do more to achieve racial equity. When Minneapolis police officers murdered George Floyd in May last year, like many people, I reached out to friends and loved ones to give comfort, find hope, and try to make sense of something that should never have happened. Out of our sadness and anger and a desire to take action, a group of us came together, some old friends and some new friends, and over the past 8 months have marched, donated, written letters, made calls, organized, cried, voted, cried some more, and tonight are back in person to continue this work with you and with our school district. On January 21st, my group of 6 moms submitted a comment to the school board study session in support of more inclusive language in policy number 604. Not only did we sign our names to the comment, but we gathered 240 additional signatures in less than 3 days. Since then, we've added more names and are now almost at 300. We are parents, teachers, alumni, students, and members of the Minnetonka school community who want to see the Minnetonka School District implement more inclusive policies and practices. Our letter was signed by the following 240 members of this community who were very disappointed not to be acknowledged in any way at the study session on January 21st. Ali Alawanle, Masha Yevzelman, Karen Zeitz, Renee Dragseth, Courtney Zavanovic, Bruce Trippett, Don Shelby, Catherine Woodruff, Kim McGreevy, Lisa Meyer, Liz Gluck, Mark Stork, Sandy Katkov, Wade Lutterbein, Wei-Yi Chen, Andy Potter, Ann Kaufman, Joan Larson, Aberdeen Morrow, Ada Everton, Alex Korjan, Alex Yevzelman, Allison DeGrood, Amanda Hultgren, Amy Altenberg, Amy Bellew, Anna Ruiz, Andrea Venkel, Andrew Morrow, Andy Boutwin, Angela L'Esperance, Angela Madan, Angela Thieringer, Anita Kalangudar, Ann Hilgers, Anthony Sy, Ashley Benitez, Vic Madon, Barbara Shelby, Barry Friends, Becky Cornelius, Becky Gorton, Becky Porspaka, Becca Trippett, Betsy Boutwin, Billy Hartong, Bob Edelstein, Bonnie Marsh, Bree Waters, Brendan Cahill, Brian Zeiss, Brianna Kretsch, Brittany Tower, Caitlin Burnett, Carol Watkins, Carolina Rosales, Charlotte Wilson, Chelsea Jordan, Christina Burnett, Christina Bruceven, Cindy Bush, Claire Welsh, Clayton Everton, Cliff McCartney, Courtney White, Craig McDonald, Cynthia Shellum, Dan Snow, Danae Wilson, David Hansen, Diana Amelia Ortiz, Deborah Larson, Don Miller, Doris Ely, Doug Afinito, Doug Martin, Dr. Dan Cooper, Dr. Melissa White, Dr. Michael Remukal, Dustin Tower, Edwin Asamoah, Edith Peterson, Elaine Summers, Eleanor Johnson, Elizabeth Hale, Ellen Dobbins, Emily Schmidt, Emmanuel Benitez, Aaron Carcamo, Aaron Trippett, Fazil Harris, Fatini Donnelly, Federico Tripodi, Galen Benson, Jeff Bilker, Georgia Morrow, Gina Smith, Grace Bunday, Gershon Ladon, Haley Evelkrog, Haven Mercer, Heather Campaign Robish, Imad Alassi, Isaac Schmidt, Jacob Sims, Jamie Dale, Jane Morgan, Jason Brushin, Jason Watt, Jay Anderson, Jamie Panticoke, Jana Rafferty, Janine McDonald, Jennifer Barhoover, Jennifer Charbonnet, Jennifer Friends, Jennifer Volby, Jenny Benowitz, Jeremy Erickson, Jess Tehran, Jesse Heidelberg, Jill Binder, Jill Ishii, Joe Kolbinger, Joel Summers, John Dawson, John Dragseth, John Benowitz, Jonathan Kurlander, Jordan Zeiss, Jory Mock, Joseph Cassiope, Joy James, Joy Peterson, Judy Crawford, Julian Calder, Julie Matson, Julie Shasinski, Kanika Bobble, Kara Tyler, Carrie Erickson, Carrie Hanstad, Carl Bunday, Kate Eggert, Kate Floam, Catherine Watt, Katie Benson, Katie Dorn, Katie Cooper, Katie Mark, Katie McCartney, Katie Sansafar, Katie Sievert, Katie Trevana, Katie Friends, Keith Dobbins, Kevin Greiber, Kimberly Arndt, Kimberly Lazinski, Krista Adewumi, Kristen Robinson, Kwame Olawanle, Laura Anderson, Laura Dornick, Laura Geislinger, Laura Ivy, Laura Williams, Laura Mosier, Lena Oltoski, Lily Mercer, Lisa Doherty, Lisa Gutzmer, Lisa Lane, Liz Tehran, Dr. Louise Ouyang, Luna Kimmel, Lydia Holston, Maggie Brindley, Mandy Burrows, Margaret Burnett, Maria Unudson, Marie Rayleigh, Mark Lalonde, Mark Morgan, Marta Snow, Mary Hamblin, Mary Beth Cahill, Maura Devaney, Maya Corzin, Megan Jensen, Megan Brescian, Megan Lalonde, Miley Gong, Melanie Dawson, Melissa Sy, Melissa Worgan, Maris Greiber, Michelle Cummings, Mona Gustafson, Myra Grom, Nancy Olmsted, Nicholas Calder, Nisha Varghese, Oliver Calder, Pam Feller, Pat Vandevorn, Patrick Cummings, Patty Wolter, Paul Matson, Pete Zavanovic, Rajesh Matthew, Rebecca Kurlander, Rhoda Brooks, Richard Burnett, Rick Myler, Rob Tyler, Rob Walter, Robbie Mock, Robert Long, Robin Thomas, Ron Kaufman, Ryan Gutzmer, Ryan Robish, Sabat Imran, Sally Gordon, Samantha Cassiope, Samantha Dragsa, Sandra Reichus, Sarah Straight, Sarah Clifford, Sarah Hartong, Sarah Johnson, Sarah Morrow, Sarah Ogilvie, Sarah Score, Sarika Harris, Scott Holtgren, Sharon Bunton, Shelley Hansen, Sydney Leven, Sophia Miller, Spencer Pruitt, Stefan Theringer, Steve Arndt, Sue Cantor, Suresh Seljar, Susan Burke, Susan Dowds, Sydney Zeiss, Taz Brinkley, Tamara Asamoah, Tammy Brady, Tara Hawks, Tara Turner, Tanya Kolbinger, Theodore Johnson, Teresa Benoit.
Excuse me, Ms. Robertson Martin, you are at 9 minutes.
I have 8 names left.
Perfect, thank you.
Ting Wang, Tom McGreevy, Tracy Penn, Tristana Ward, Vidya Ramaj, Virginia Morrow, Yaroslava Tyler. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the board? Great. Ms. Robertson Martin, if you would like to submit anything in writing, please, you can leave it, bring it to the back, and we will make sure to get all of that to the board. Thank you. Seeing no more comments, we can move on to our next agenda item, which is the 7th reading and adoption of policy 604, inclusive education program. Dr. Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The policy is in its 7th reading, and the board leadership asks that we include the term adoption for tonight in hopes that it will be adopted. The format of the policy is the usual one that we've had before, the legislative style of underlining additions, crossing out deletions, and then we added the coloration, which is yellow for some of the additional changes you've made. So this is now in your packet the way it was presented at, or the way it was agreed to by the board at the last meeting. I think there were some other changes that were proposed at that point. Those were taken to the district's legal counsel, and the board chair has a copy of that legal advice, which I believe he shared with the board. So I don't know of anything else we need to do here to get ready for this. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Yes, we've gone through extensive discussion and writing on this policy. I would like to talk about that our legal counsel looked at what was proposed and came back that everything looked good, but had one recommendation. So in 3 definitions, it would be section A in the second to last paragraph. So the recommendation would be in where it says instructional materials should include. They recommended that we add teaching about. That should include teaching about contributions by people of diverse representations. So I will open it up to the board for questions and comments, and we can talk about that. Yes, Lisa.
I'd like to move that we adopt policy 604 presented with the recommendation from our attorney adding the phrase teaching about in 3A as noted by the chair.
Thank you, Lisa. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second. Oh,
We have
hands
lots.
or voices?
I think
now,
Mark, I saw
sorry.
Mark first, a second. So we have a first and a second. And just so everybody knows what we're talking about, that section A would be, because it would be a change, inclusive education program, one that employs a curriculum that is developed and delivered so that students and staff gain an understanding and appreciation of the cultural diversity of the United States, Where it is relevant and significant to the subject matter, the curriculum and instructional materials should include teaching about contributions by people of diverse representations. The curriculum and instructional materials shall reflect these expectations. Any questions or comments? Yes.
I do like the addition of the word teaching by the lawyer. It just gives a little bit more teeth and ensures that the contributions of all the diverse members of our population actually gets addressed, included in the education process. So I do like the word added.
Thank you, Mark. I would agree. Any other questions or comments? So we have the motion on the table. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Great, motion carries. We have a new policy 604, an updated policy 604. Just, I know some board members said, but I'd like to thank the board, Dr. Peterson and his staff and all the community members for all the hard work on this policy and all of the other policies. So we had extensive listening sessions, community comments, lots of emails, and support for the changes and the updates that we made. So thank you, appreciate it, a lot of work. Yes.
I think it's important to acknowledge Christine Ritchie for all the work she did on writing this, rewriting this, and rewriting it again. So I appreciate all the work that she did for that.
Great, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Christine.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on. Our next agenda item is an update on the learning model implementation. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, it's great to be able to talk to you about the learning model as it's now implemented. It's been fun to get to this point, and we have a couple more steps that we hope to be able to take in the next 6 weeks or so to get everyone back where they were on March 12th of last year. So it's been almost a year now of working through all of these changes, and our staff has been incredible to make all of those changes work, and the frustration of one or the other not working for some kids, and the parents have been very supportive all the way along, and of course the students have done a great job of making sure they worked well as in addition to that. So, and of course our administrators who put the plans together and carried them out and made sure all the details are in place. It's just, I mean, it's like they've said many times, it's almost like recreating the school district, because so many changes have been made that you have to think about them differently. So I thought I'd give you an update tonight and kind of make it a broad update on all the aspects of the plan and give you a chance to have your questions answered. So since the first part of January, we've moved from the point where we had all of our students on e-learning or learning virtually for about half of the month of January. And then on the 19th, we brought all of our grades K through 2 and 4 and 5 back in for their hybrid model. Essentially, the model for K through 2 was the full instructional time, except that we had all the distancing requirements and capacity limited to 50% of each room and so forth. But and of course, we had to keep the third graders out because the state was only allowing us to bring in 3 grades at a time. And we were able to do 4th and 5th grade because they're in different buildings. So we didn't have 3 grades even in the high school at that point. So since that time, and starting last week, we started to move our students into another kind of get ready mode. And we had the middle school students start back to school on Tuesday of last week. So they've been in their rotation of 2 days in school, 2 days at home, receiving the streamed instruction from the teachers who are there during the day. And by the way, our teachers are getting very adept at that model. I know if we would have asked them a year ago now, would you like to do this model? It'd been almost unanimous. Absolutely not. Where'd you get such a crazy idea? And now they're doing it and making it work well. So and so there were no planning days required for middle school. They just came back in to go to work just where they left off at the end of November. And then high school came in for 2 days last week. So Group A one day and Group B the other. And so they kind of got a flavor of what it was going to be like. They really hadn't all experienced that yet. And so we split the group of students who want to come in for hybrid. We have anywhere from 80 to 83% of the students who want to be in school. The rest of them still would like to stay on e-learning or virtually for a while. And so starting this week, we now have our elementaries all set up, a lot of transition on Thursday and Friday of getting, in many cases, as Mr. Walker mentioned at Scenic Heights, they had moved some of their teachers around to different rooms so they could do the 2 pods and so forth and be close to each other. So they had to get back to the usual configuration of the school. And of course, there's still a number of kids on e-learning at the elementary level. And so they had a little room to maneuver, but basically they got the building rearranged to be the way it would have looked without all of the pandemic changes. And we also then brought in our 3rd graders, so they sat out those basically 2 weeks or parts of 2 weeks. And then they came in as well as the K through 2, and then we moved the 4th and 5th graders from the high school back to their schools. So I know a lot of people speculated during the fall that it would take forever to move the 4th and 5th graders out, and therefore, we could certainly never have high school there again. It took very little time to do that, and we brought back quite a few desks, as Mr. Walker kind of mentioned in passing. You don't see desks in kindergarten very often, but he wanted to have a lot of desks, and others did too. And of course, we wanted to maintain as much distancing as we can. There's no real requirement. We're shooting for 3 feet or more. As I look at the classrooms, they're certainly more than 3 feet apart for the kids. And so we got those 4th and 5th graders back there. So basically, K through 5 is all back in their home. And as much as the 4th and 5th graders enjoyed being at the high school, it was kind of novel at first. They really liked to be back in their building. And, 5th graders, all of us having been there, it's kind of a special time, particularly in a configuration like ours, because they're the top dogs, so to speak, in the school, and they like that for a year, because the next year they'll be 6th graders, and they're not the top dogs in middle school. So they need some of that flavor, and so it's giving them that opportunity. So as I've been in a lot of elementary classrooms this week, just smile. I mean, they've got their masks on, but you can tell by their eyes they're smiling and enjoying what they're doing. And other than being called President Biden several times, they all try to get reacquainted with who I am and who everybody else is at the school. So it's been kind of novel. And so that's the classroom view of the elementary. At the middle school, we're still doing basically the model we had in place all fall. And then the high school model is very similar to what the middle school is doing. Half the students or half of the students who want to come in. So it's about 40% of the student body there on 1 day, or 2 days, I should say, Monday and Tuesday. And the other group is being streamed to at home on Thursday and Friday. They come in, and the A and B group, or the A group, who was there Monday and Tuesday, gets streamed instruction. And on Wednesday, it's a chance to get help from the teachers. And we still have to, by state requirement, provide that half an hour a day additional planning. That's really tricky, but we made it work, and so we picked that up on Wednesdays as well. So I know everybody's looking forward to when we can transition to everybody being there, but the high school students are, I mean, they're to a person. When teachers had asked them in front of me today, or yesterday, or the day before, or the day before that, you know, how's it feel to be back? They just unanimously love being back in school. And so barring some, you know, recurrence of the pandemic effects, we should be able to keep going and get them all back. We do have classrooms at all levels, but particularly at the high school where the teacher is still not in the building, but teaching the students at school. I thought that would be a major concern for parents. Mr. Erickson said he has not heard anything from parents about that. Students said it took a little getting used to, but they like it fine. I was in several rooms this week where that was going on, and we have some of our top paras who were able to transition from elementary to the high school, and so they're supervising those rooms. And so it's really worked beautifully for all of those models. So in a way, it's still, for the last group I described, still e-learning because the teacher's not in the same room, but you know, they're making it work. And of course, at the high school, we also stopped doing separate teacher assignments and separate classes for the e-learners. So they're all getting streamed instruction. In their case, they're getting streamed instruction all 5 days of the week or 4 days of the week. So we didn't make that change at the middle school or at the elementary, but we've made that switch at the high school. And you know, I'll share with you probably in the next few days the grades that students got the first semester. In general, at the high school, grades are higher than they've ever been, and so students have done well. They've had a lot of support for their learning, and I know a lot of them like the way it's worked out. I mean, they at first didn't like that model. Now they kind of like, as many of them do. So it's funny what occurs as you go through something new like that. So, and of course at the middle school and the high school, we still have the required 6-foot social distance and the limitation on the percentage of the room we can use. So, you know, those are still really small groups of students in a room at a time. And the streaming is working well. The teachers have gotten used to it. The other students, whether they're in the room or they're at home that day, have gotten used to it, and you know, they keep their cameras on and really engaged. So you can almost feel like they're all together, even though they're in two different venues. So that's kind of the instructional part of it. We've also made a lot of adjustments with transportation. We still have the social distancing required on the high school and middle school buses, so they're separated on the bus and only up to 50% of capacity. Most of those buses aren't carrying close to that number, really. We've had a large increase in car traffic. I drove around on Monday, the first day, just to see what it was like, and it was even heavier than I anticipated. You know, we knew it was going to be heavy because we've been planning on that for 4 or 5 months when this happened. So traffic out here was backed up almost to Excelsior around Scenic Heights. I know Mr. Walker was at the school, but I watched some of it, and it was backed up on both ways on Excelsior, trying to get in, and as well as all the other arteries there. So it did take a lot of time. Excelsior, it was really backed up all the way up and down Water Street in town, and up and down the frontage, or the Highway 7, I should say, and then 19 as well. And Minnetonka was not bad. Actually, Minnetonka was in pretty good shape. Groveland had a lot of traffic yet on Minnetonka Boulevard and some of the other streets. So, you know, that's the flavor. And we haven't heard a lot of complaints yet from people about that, but that'll, you know, they'll get used to making it work. But they'll get old too if it takes too long to get their kids to school. And so that's the flavor of that. We've pretty much are well under capacity on the elementary buses, even though the limitations are off on elementary buses, so they could have full capacity on an elementary bus. But most of our buses are probably 45 to 50 max. Many of them are smaller than that. With the 72 passenger bus, they make that work. They're trying to keep 2 seats between the driver and the first student, so it protects the student, or both the students and the drivers. I know for students trying to get vaccinations for their bus drivers and so forth, so making a lot of progress on that. Meals, as Mr. Walker pointed out, it's at Scenic Heights, we're still serving meals at the elementary in the classrooms. At the middle school and the high school, we're serving in the cafeterias and gyms and so forth. We worked out a plan at the high school where we brought in a lot of desks that are not being used. Obviously, with only 1,400 kids in school at a time, we have basically 2,000 desks that aren't being used. So they've spaced those out in the cafeterias so they get their 6-foot distancing and don't expect students to sit at a table and try to find the spacing. They figured it out for them. So that's worked well, and I know there was some concern about how we might serve kids, particularly if they had to eat in their rooms at the high school. We also try to keep some of the choices for the meals, so it's not just a type A lunch, it's some other choices. We'll keep expanding that for students. So it's kind of an overall flavor of all that. We began the saliva testing for all of our staff a week ago Monday, and then we're continuing to do that each week so they can get tested regularly to see what those results are. We've had, I think, maybe 4 cases identified of people who have been at school or were coming to school or were at school, but a very small number had to be quarantined because of them. And we're still taking temperatures and wearing masks, and we have a few shields, but not a lot of shields. So obviously the choice the state made to not require shields and masks was welcomed by the staff. And then, of course, the work last week, in addition to all I've just described, was getting the vaccination started for staff. So the first model the state put out was that they were going to do a pilot. So we got 22 staff members the first round. So we selected staff members who were vulnerable or had an age issue, or were in a teaching situation where they really needed to have vaccine as soon as possible. Got those 22 in. Then the following Sunday night, we got the word, and Monday morning we started getting ready for up to 490, actually 492 staff members the next time. So that was quite a few more than we expected, so it was a bit of a scramble to try to identify which staff should get the vaccine at that point. And then, of course, they cut off in the middle of the day on Wednesday. So we had to wait until 6 o'clock. We were supposed to wait until 6 o'clock on Tuesday night, not this past Tuesday, but the previous Tuesday, to start letting teachers and other staff in. Unfortunately, what happened is that some school districts jumped the gun. And they not only jumped the gun, but they had people starting to share the links with other people who aren't in school. So I suppose all behavior you might expect, but we thought we would be ethical in how we did that. So at 6 o'clock, I was ready to send out all my emails, and I clicked them out and got them rolling. And to Wednesday of last week, I think it was shortly after noon, they told us that they wanted to stop the process. So we didn't have all of ours in yet, and nobody else did either. So they, they gave out all these numbers and then couldn't fulfill them. So instead of saying we have 50,000 vaccines here and we're going to give them out to 50,000 people, they gave them out to a larger number than they had vaccine for. So I think they learned some things from all of that. It created a lot of problems between administrators and teachers because, teachers were wondering why you got it and you got it, but I didn't, and those kinds of things. So, they've now taken it over as of last Friday. So at noon on Friday, we put out the new link. So everybody just goes into that portal and gets the invite. We had some from the first round who got appointments right away, and some got on a wait list, and the state told us everybody on the wait list will eventually get an appointment. So a lot of people have been telling me, hey, I got mine in, I'm going Sunday, I'm going tomorrow, whatever they got. So our staff is getting vaccinated very quickly. And then with the Friday distribution, those are going to start picking up. So they're doing quite a few at the convention center downtown. So that's a great place to do it. You can spread out a lot of people there and have rooms for everyone. And you feel like you're going to a sterile kind of place. It's I'm so impressed with our convention center here in Minneapolis. So I think those are the major things. I know I'm probably missing something obvious, but be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Board members, any questions for Lisa?
Can you tell us a little bit more, Dr. Peterson, about the next steps of the plan? I know we were hoping to get the MDE and the governor to approve kind of our next phase, and where are we at with all of that?
Yes, certainly. We still have the plan to move to in-person, which is everybody back at school who wants to be at school. They'll still be e-learners in all grades, K through 12, starting on March 15th. They told us that they were okay with what we're doing now, but they wanted to get more local numbers before we move to that next phase. So probably in another 2 or 3 weeks, we'll go back and see where the numbers are with them and make it work, see how it's working with hybrid.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Mike?
Yeah, just following up on that, so will part of that also be factored in how many of the staff has been vaccinated? Or was that not?
I would guess that'll be part of the equation. It'll certainly help us in making our case that we've had, X percent of our staff vaccinated, and they may even have student vaccines before too long.
Great. Christine?
When the middle school and high school are back all in person as normal, hopefully, is it just going to be 5 days a week, or are they going to have the Wednesdays? I'm just thinking, I think my kids will go into shock being there 5 days a week, full days. The Wednesdays have been very interesting and helpful.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, we're still working on the specific of the plan for what it'll look like. We've kind of used the word normal, meaning the way it was before all this happened. But I think kids are finding out this week, even at the elementary, it's not exactly the way we did it before. For example, they're eating in their classrooms. They never would have done that before, all those things. So it will not be exactly the way it was when we left school last March, but we may preserve some of those things as a transition. As I said earlier, a lot of kids and teachers like parts of what we're doing now, and so we may think about that as we go forward. Some of those things, for example, the in-person does not require us to have that planning time, so we won't have that half-hour requirement that the state put on us for planning, and I know a lot of parents wonder what that's all about, but we won't have that anymore. So we'll have more flexibility to do what we need to do. But I think in some ways, I'm not sure a lot of parents knew exactly how school worked. Their kids didn't really walk them through a day. So when they were starting to see some of the extra help that was available and all, that not all parents knew that was going on. And so some of those are just the way we really were doing it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Christine. Anybody else? Thank you, Dr. Peterson, for the update. Just
Absolutely.
share the board's thank you, obviously, to you and your administrative staff, all the principals, all the support staff, all the teachers. I can't imagine the buildings and grounds and everybody getting all the desks, getting everything realigned, changing all the bus schedules. I mean, everything changed. And, the flexibility of the staff to change and adapt the multiple first days of school that we've had we appreciate so much, and our families appreciate so much. We're doing such a great job, and we appreciate it. So please share that.
I know the staff feels that they're appreciated too, and nobody's doing what they used to do. It's just that simple. Nobody's doing exactly what they used to do.
It's impressive. So
It
thank
is,
you.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Let's moving on to our next agenda item, which is the authorization of sale of the 2021B certificates of participation refunding bonds. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we're pleased that we have brought you the certificates of participation for refunding, which will affect our rate and how it'll affect the levy next year. So Mr. Bourgeois is going to explain the sale and the bids we got on 2021B.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Mr. Chair, members of the board, it's always an enjoyment to do school board in the round. The next 7 items actually are related to the projects that we are looking at completing this in calendar 2021. The purchase of the Shorewood professional building, and then conversion for the transition to adult program, and then the construction of the Momentum trades and design building, addition to the Pagel Center. So they're all kind of tied together. This first item is authorizing the sale of 2021B certificates of participation refunding bonds. These are coming up for refunding, and what we're wanting to do is kind of tie this in with the next one, the 2021C. The 2021B bonds will refund the 2013A bonds that were originally issued in 2013 to construct the Excelsior multipurpose room and cafeteria. And we are paying for those out of our operating capital budget. What this restructuring will do right now is a couple of things. It will allow us to basically drop our interest rate from an estimated, from 2.97% down to an estimated 2.13% or thereabouts, or 2.17, or thereabouts. And it's going to be about break even on net present value. But the other important thing about that, though, is because we'll be dropping the payments from about $240,000 down to about $150,000, it creates space in the operating capital so that the 2021C bonds, which are going to be used to pay for the Shorewood professional building, can be layered in to operating capital. Now that in turn will allow us, when we're paying for the transition to adult programs in the Shorewood professional building, we'll no longer have to pay rent in the general fund to the consortium that we were participating in the past. And so that in turn is going to save the general fund about $130,000 a year. And that's important from the standpoint as we look forward to kind of steering the super tanker and navigating the waters over the next year. So it all kind of fits together. So we're requesting the authority to sell these refunding bonds. We will sell them on February 10th. And then we'll bring them to you for the ratification of the sale at the March 4th board meeting. With that, we ask for authorization to sell these 2020B certificates of refunding bonds.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I get a motion to approve the 2021B authorization resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney.
So moved.
Lisa, a second?
Second.
Mike? Thank you. Any questions or comments? Great. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, motion carries.
Thank you.
As Paul said, we have a long list of these to go through. So our next agenda item is the authorization of sale of 2021C certificates of participation bonds. Dr. Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As Mr. Bourgeois described, we're making room for the 2021C certificates of participation in order to purchase and convert the Shorewood building that you've approved the purchase. And so Mr. Bourgeois will explain that.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Mr. Chair, members of the board, the 2021C certificates of participation bonds in the amount of $2.2 million are proposed to be sold and actually in May and then close on June 29th, 2021. What the proceeds will pay for is the purchase of the Shorewood professional building for $1.7 million, and then also $500,000 estimated cost of converting it for the transition to adult program. The annual payments are estimated just under $139,000. The estimate right now by our financial advisors, R.W. Baird, is that we'll be able to sell these at a rate of 2.13%. So really almost rock bottom rates. And one of the aspects of doing this also then is, again, things that work together is by moving into the Shorewood building and running our own program, we estimate that we'll save approximately $241,000 in the general fund annually in transportation costs. And then also the aforementioned being able to not have to pay rent. So all that's actually been taken into account in the projection when we're doing the fiscal 21 amended budget and then projecting fiscal 22 through 26. We're taking all that into account there. So this request is to and then one more thing. By selling and closing on June 29th, it'll allow us to actually have the first payment on July 1, 2023, which is in July 1 of 2022, which is in fiscal 23.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the 2021C authorizing resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney? Mark? Second? John?
Yep.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next agenda item, move into authorization of reimbursement resolution for 2021C certificates of participation bonds. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this is the reimbursement resolution, which basically authorizes staff to pay bills related to this project out of the general fund. And then when the bonds are sold, we can use the proceeds of the bonds to not only finish the project, but pay back the general fund. So none of this is going to be paid for out of the general fund ultimately. So Mr. Bourgeois, I'll let you explain further.
Certainly, Dr. Pearson. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This, in addition to what Dr. Peterson described, again, this is tied into the fact that we want to close the bonds on June 29th so that we can have that first payment in July 1st, 2022. And again, because we want to be able to do that, it's advantageous for us to do it in that manner. This reimbursement resolution lets construction purchase finish up and construction to get underway, but yet in our fiscal 21 books, everything is kind of like then balanced out and paid for in fiscal 21 also.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the 2021C reimbursement resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney? Katie, a second. Mike? Any questions or comments? Great. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the authorization of sale of the 2021D certificates of participation bonds for Momentum Construction. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, now we're moving into the work on the Momentum building construction. and the 2021D certificates of participation will be used to do that. Mr. Bourgeois, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson. Mr. Chair, members of the board. These next 4 items are related to the momentum construction. We're basically looking at doing 2 tranches of bonds, one that will close in fiscal year 2021 and one that will close in fiscal year 2022 to kind of balance out how much long-term debt we take on at the end of the year because we want to continue to have that be relatively stable or declining. This first tranche will be for $1,250,000. And that will, along with the reimbursement resolution, allow us to pay for any work that's being done right now in terms of design and permitting, and then also the first construction aspects or activities that will take place. We're expecting to actually really just break ground after school's out because the location of the building would be extremely disruptive to the operations of Minnetonka High School right now. And then have the building finished by December 31st of 2021 in time for the second semester. The $1,250,000 is an estimate of the work that will be completed this year. And again, so this will allow us to issue these bonds and then have them pay for work in process and work up to June 30th, 2021. But it'll also, if we don't spend $1,250,000, it can continue to be used to spent to be paid for the rest of the building. The other aspect of this bond is that the issuance will it'll be out of the lease levy, and these will basically layer right in with the other existing lease levy, so it won't result in a tax increase because we're going to be. We have 3 bonds scheduled: the 2012, where am I at? The 2012A, 2013D, and 2013B that are reaching their call dates next February, and we're going to restructure those in September. And by restructuring those, we'll get a lower interest rate, but we'll also drop the payment, and then the payments for these 2 bonds will also be laid in, and they'll be part of the September levy, but all within the $212 per pupil that's allowed by the lease levy. So we basically still continue to keep that levy flat, but we're paying for more projects out of the same dollars. So with that, the request is that you would authorize the issuance of these certificates of participation for the first tranche for the momentum construction.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I get a motion to approve the 2021D authorizing resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney? Lisa, second? Katie? Questions or comments? Yes, Christine.
I just have a question regarding some of the dates in here.
There is a typo.
Okay.
January 29th past spell check. It is June 29th that we will be closing on the bonds.
And then in the 5th paragraph also, it says closing on July 29th and July 1st.
And that one should be June 29th.
Okay.
Yes.
So do we need to, can we vote on it as is, or do we have
Well,
to?
the resolution, you're actually approving the resolution as opposed to approving the executive summary.
Okay.
Great, thank you, Christine. Any other questions? I just have one. We're looking through all the different projected rates for this. Obviously, this is lower, quite a bit lower than some of the others. Is this because it's coming up, would be lease levy? Is that the change, that we would get a more favorable rate?
Yes, the lease levy is basically taxing authority.
Okay.
Whereas operating capital is basically at the discretion of the board. So in theory, you could decide not to make the payment a lot easier, but we're under an obligation to levy to make the payments with the lease levy.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is authorization of reimbursement resolution for 2021D certificates of participation bonds. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, so this reimbursement resolution will help with the bonds related to the first step in the momentum construction. So, Mr. Bourgeois, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Again, Mr. Chair, it was a long time, many years, Mr. Chair, and members of the board. Again, very similar to with the Shorewood Professional Building, this will allow us to basically close on the 29th of June, but then basically reimburse ourselves for whatever's going on. And it's, anyway, so please approve this so we can continue moving ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I get a motion to approve the 2021D reimbursement resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney? Mark, second. Mike? Any comments or questions? Seeing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next agenda item is the authorization of sale of the 2021E certificates of participation bonds for Momentum Construction. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, in case you're worried, like the hurricanes, if we'll run out of letters that we can use, well, we're only up to E so far. So the 2021E certificates are for the Momentum Construction, and that would be the second phase of the financing part of it. So, Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Dr. Pearson. And actually, I kind of cut and pasted board items, so there's the same two typos are in here, that pass spell check, but I was typing so fast I didn't notice. This second tranche of $2,750,000 will close on July 1st of 2021. And again, this will be, then first payment will be on July 1st of 2022, and it will be added to the lease levy, just like with the 2021Ds. But the actual long-term debt then will hit the next fiscal year as opposed to this fiscal year.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I get a motion to approve the 2021E authorization resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney? Lisa? Second. Christine? Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next agenda item, last one, is the authorization of reimbursement resolution for 2021E certificates of participation bonds. Dr. Peterson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, it is the last of these resolutions, and it provides the reimbursement to the general fund for the sale of the 2021E certificates. Paul?
Thank you, Dr. Pearson, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So I guess we did all these in honor of Groundhog Day. This particular resolution actually is kind of a safety valve, because there's one large component. This building will be built with precast panels for the walls and actually the roof. And depending on the delivery date, they might show up before June 30th. So we're going to be kind of at their mercy. If they do show up before June 30th, the $1,250,000 won't necessarily be enough to cover everything that we've done up to that date. So this $4 million, which is coming in on July 1st, also has a reimbursement resolution to be able to cover anything that would not have been covered by the $1,250,000 initial tranche. So it's kind of a safety valve. So just to be sure, we think that the precast panels will show up after June 30th, but again, there's never any guarantee, and so we're just trying to make sure we cover all of our bases. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I get a motion to approve the 2021E reimbursement resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney? Katie, second? John? Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Katie?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
When you mentioned at the beginning of the meeting you had to carry an item for consent, it might be good to describe what that was.
Oh, yes. Sorry, we have questions or comments. I have one. I have a comment. In the consent agenda, we have a carry-in item, which is the acceptance of sale of used iPads.
Which was already on the agenda.
Which is already on the agenda. And so, should I go through it?
No.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? All right, we have first and second. Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board reports. Does anybody have a board report? None? We're going fast. Superintendent report. Dr. Peterson.
Well, you'd probably ask, is there more? After giving you the update earlier. There is a little more. We have a number of our activities going now, and it's fun to see the students participating in them and enjoying that part of their student life.
With that, maybe I've missed, have they opened up for the high schools for more people to come watch, like at least parents and things like that, or is that already part of the plan?
I think it's still held at that lower number.
Okay.
But I was at a basketball game the other night where it was a decent-sized crowd.
Good.
Hockey had a decent-sized crowd.
I know most of the sports are being streamed as well, so
Yeah,
lots of opportunities to watch.
I hope that's a nice feature for people.
Yeah. Good.
I enjoyed watching the basketball game from home
Yeah.
by the fire.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Any announcements? Nope. Great. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second? Christine, I think, or Mike. Meeting adjourned. Oh, we have to vote on it. I'm sorry. I messed up. Any questions or comments on adjournment? Probably not, no. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.